Welcome folks to another build in the Special Projects Pack 2 selection, the second of the day after my Mitsubishi FQ440 build. This time, of course, for a car which I'm sure many of you have already built anyway, certainly plenty of people have done liveries for it at least, the Nismo 270R. It's funny how cars which in the older games are sometimes overlooked have ended up becoming kind of these cult classic cars. Cars that we miss now and want back. Because I remember back in like Gran Turismo 5 and 6, I did not see many people talking about or using the 270R. Everyone always raved about the 400R, and now people seem to have this newfound love for the 270, which is cool because I always liked it personally. Now, this one, I fitted a build from the community on, but you will need to make a couple of changes if you go for the one that I'm using. Now, this is the username. You can grab it by the link in the description below. But to jump over first of all to the visuals, and then we'll get to the tuning after, for this one, the changes that I made were this particular player did two things that aren't necessary. They fitted white wheels, which don't match the car, and they fitted a roll cage, which doesn't really match it either. So I would recommend removing the roll cage and then going from the white wheels that they have to then I've gone for these wheels, these Enki Racing JS Plus M's, and then I changed those in terms of width. I don't think I changed the actual width of the tyre, I just changed the offset, I should say, not the width. And I believe I changed the rim size as well to a 17 to get the look that I'm going for with this car, and that's the result that you can see here. So if you don't agree with what I've done, absolutely go for a different one, and that's the beauty, much like with the Stratos yesterday, so many people have done liveries for this car that you can pretty much pick and choose whatever one you want. So that's it for the visuals. Now though, let's jump over into the upgrade shop. Now, of course, being a 270R, it's not that crazy. It's not like a 600 horsepower monster, so we've got the sports silencer fitted, the sports brake pads. I've left it on sports hard tyres as well, because again, you know, it's a tuner car, but it's a road car. You don't want it to feel too crazy. We've got the sports clutch, sports brakes, the power restrictor is fitted as well with ballast. As far as the semi-racing stuff, we've got the fully customised ECU. I purchased both the semi-racing silencer and the sports one to see the differences in the visuals and the sound. The low RPM turbo, of course, far less lag. As far as the diff, that is fully customised. For the racing parts, we have the fully customised suspension, and then that's pretty much it. You know, you don't really need anything else. So around 270 horses, of course, as the name suggests. And for those who are wondering, I am, like with the Stratos, using Gran Turismo 6 as a reference rather than real life. So 1240 kilos. I couldn't get it to be exactly 270 horsepower with the parts fitted that I wanted, so I kind of, like with the Evo again, made a little bit of an exception and just gave it a little bit more power, but I don't think many people would complain about that. As far as the actual exhaust though, as you can see, we fitted the sports one. Even though I purchased the semi-race, you actually want to go for the sports one because it looks more like the actual 270R. It's got that single exhaust pipe. As far as the tyres, those are the sports hards, of course. For suspension, I would recommend having the back actually a little bit lower than the front, which might seem odd. 90 on the rear, 95 on the front. The reason for that is it doesn't look like a reverse snowplow. It actually makes it look a little bit more evened out. It makes it a bit more flat and neutral looking. The anti-roll I've got on 3. The compression on the dampers on 33 with 40 on the expansion or rebound, 2.15 on frequency. So as you can kind of tell, these are very road car numbers. You know, I didn't want to go crazy with this one. We've got half a degree of camber, no toe on this one at all, perhaps surprisingly. As far as the diff, 10, 40 and 20. So again, nothing crazy there. The normal transmission, of course, I haven't touched the power restrictor. The ballast I've put all the way to the back with 20 kilos, so that both brings us up to the Gran Turismo 6 weight, and also a pretty nice 55-45 split, so still plenty of drift material here. As far as the ECU, drop that down to 92%. For the downforce, we've got the rear as low as it can go, the front as high, just to get a fairly even mix of 100 and 150. And then as far as even all of these parts, you can see exactly what I've done. So it's a pretty cheap build to do. You really don't have to put a huge amount of money into this one if you do want to try it. But of course, all that remains is to jump out on Tokyo and see what it can actually do in practice. Now, this car, as with a couple of the builds that I did in the last pack in December, as with a couple of the ones from this update, this pack I should say, that I've done, they're not designed to blow your mind. They're just designed more to be like homages to cars that we used to have. and in some cases cars that may well come back at some point. And I actually kind of do hope that we get some of the cars that I'm building in the game, because then it would be cool to kind of compare what I've done to the actual car in the game and see how accurate it was and which one feels better. I think that would be kind of cool. Now, with the 270R, it's super affordable to do. It's not going to blow your mind. Don't expect this to be some groundbreaking thing, because it's a relatively normal car. It's kind of like the Time Attack Viper from last month. It's nothing too crazy, it's just a car for people who are a fan of that vehicle. So if you do use it, I hope you have a ton of fun with it. You could certainly use it for events like drifting or lower level, circuit racing. So give it a try, see if you like it, and of course check out the other builds that I'm doing this week if you haven't already. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.